Hi there. How are you guys? Happy holidays to all of you. I hope it was great. I hope you had a good time. And I hope that you are ready for New Year's Eve celebration, which is coming up soon. For the time being, we're going to do our little celebration, which happens every month on my channel, where I pick one name from this bowl randomly, and that person receives a tarot reading. If you're interested in joining this, if you would like your name to be in this bowl next month, then you can join on Patreon, only at the most basic entry level, or you can choose a higher tier on my website with a better chance and other features. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for all of your lovely support all throughout the year. I'm really grateful for everyone, for the comments, for the likes, for the positive reinforcement that I've received from you, and for everyone who is supporting me monetarily by booking readings and by joining the lottery. It really means a lot. It makes it possible for me to focus on the channel and to continue making these videos for you. So thank you. All right, now let me actually get the brush that you might remember from previous videos. I'm going to use it to make the selection. And here we go. I believe we have our name. And it's Drew. Congratulations, Drew. Let's get into your reading. I'm going to give you a quarterly New Year's reading, Drew. I hope you're going to like it. To everyone else who is deciding to stay with us and to watch this video, maybe you can learn something from this reading. Maybe you can use it for your own, your own benefit, your own spiritual development. But if you like this reading type and would like to book a reading like this for yourself, you can do so on my website. You can find the link in the description. This one is in the golden tier, and it's called the quarterly New Year's reading, and it's called that because it is looking at the energy shifting every 3 months throughout the year. So I'm going to shuffle the cards a little bit, and as I do, I would like to ask you, Drew, to find a comfortable position, sitting down or laying down, whatever works for you. And take a couple of deep breaths for me. Make that connection with the present moment. Allow your consciousness, your awareness to mindfully arrive in the present moment. And as you're doing this, I would like you to focus on the year that's passing now, the year of 2022. You're still present, you're still here, but you're allowing some images and memories of the passing year to appear in your consciousness. Because we're first going to pull a card to see what it is that you are leaving behind in the previous year. What is something that you're not taking with you to 2023? And now, let's turn our conscious awareness and attention to the upcoming year. What's going to be the central energy that I'm going to place over here? And now let's look at the year quarters. So starting January, February, and March. April, May, and June. July, August, and September. And finally, October, November, and December. All right. All right, Drew. So let's have a look. Let's see what it is, what kind of energy it is that you are leaving behind. And we have strength. Going to place it over here, I think. Okay. What is the energy that will come in the new year of 2023? And we have the Page of Cups. And now let's look at the year quarters, January, February, and March. Justice. April, May, and June. The Seven of Wands. July, August, and September. Death. And the final year quarter, Judgment. Okay, so we have a bunch of major arcana cards for you, Drew, which indicates that the upcoming year is going to be quite an important one. And the major arcana cards that we have seen here in this reading, Justice, Death, Judgment, they are all incredibly powerful, and they have sort of a magnetic pull spiritually. So this pull, this kind of direction that is leading you to judgment, which is rebirth, actually, to put it very simply. It's very, very powerful all throughout the year. But there's a sense of benevolence behind all of it. So even though it sounds dramatic, it sounds like a lot, you're going into it with a really good attitude. So the basics and the base energy, the central energy, the Page of Cups, is making it so that this is not a torturous process This is a very gentle and actually, I think, a very lucky course of events. So you're facing some very transformative, life-changing energies here. But it happens in the environment that the Page of Cups creates, which is very peaceful, very receptive, very patient. So it makes it happen for you that you can deal with difficult things in a peaceful setting. So I think that's very fortunate. Now let's have a look at what it is that you're leaving behind first and foremost. Strength. Now this does not mean that you are leaving your strength behind. It just means that a certain amount of struggle is losing its validity. So you might have last year, according to strength, might have been very much centered around taming and trying to regulate some unruly energies around you and within you. And that's a contentious process. So strength, the card is about managing difficult, wild, unpredictable, and somewhat destructive forces in your life. Finding a tricky way to make these forces cooperate with you and bend to your will. So even though it's not the most intense card of struggle in the tarot, there are other cards that would perhaps signal struggle with more certainty. I feel like strength here is an indicator that there are some battles that you can leave behind you, some efforts to rule and control, even if control is in this case is gentle and non-aggressive, non-harmful. You can leave some of that behind. So it's a shift from having to manage a situation to finally getting to just be receptive and just be observing and experiencing, instead of always having to intervene or always having to be on top of things. So I think this is a shift to a more peaceful, a more relaxed energy. The Page of Cups, which pages in general represent the realm of studying, being a student, being inexperienced but wanting to know more. And this is happening in the realm of water. Cups are analogous with the element of water. And so next year is dedicated to the exploration and the understanding of your own emotions and the emotions of other people. So there's a higher capacity for progress and learning in this area. You want to develop your emotional intelligence, and the way to do it this year is by observing and listening, especially to yourself, especially to your own needs and your own feelings, but also to other people. So it is it looks like a deeply transformative year, but thanks to the Page of Cups' presence, it's all very subtle and gentle, like I said in the beginning. Okay, so what happens during January, February, and March? This is where we have Justice. Justice is a major arcana card, and it's about processes of inevitability. What I mean by that is that there are potentially some processes that are now getting to that point of culmination, that point of conclusion where they can finally be let go. So with justice, we're always talking about processes that draw inevitable, unavoidable consequences. So for that reason, justice is often associated with karma. So the first 3 months, I believe, is the wrapping up of processes from before and seeing to the consequences, the conclusions of those processes. And there's not much that you can actively do here. And for the record, I think all of these cards, except for the Seven of Wands, which is the odd one out here. So most of these cards here, they represent this incredible force that just carries you, and you don't really have an active role in all of this. Even if to the ego it might seem as though you are participating, I think the environment and the conditions, the circumstances around you are shaping up to be so strong, just a perfect storm of events, that your free will, your ability to mold and influence situations is not as significant throughout this year. It's not taking center stage. That's not the point of this year. So things and events are unfolding almost independently of your will, but ultimately, thankfully, the direction is very good, very healing. So let's see the second quarter, where, just as I mentioned, there's this odd energetic spike with the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is the card of resistance. So this is where you are inclined to, or even forced to, defend yourself and have to stand up against some external force that is trying to push you around, or is trying to push you towards something that you don't want. So this is a chance. Like I said, all throughout the year, your free will does not really come into play in the spiritual sense, but during this second quarter is where you get to, and you actually have to, exert some force, some willpower, and fight back a little bit. So this is where things could go wrong. This is where the tarot is asking you to make a conscious choice to resist the hypnotic manipulation of those that are perhaps trying to exploit you, or those that are simply not aligning with where you want to go. So here it's completely warranted and it's necessary to be disagreeable, to not let other people push you around, and you're going to have the necessary attitude and energy to be able to do that. And what's even better is that all of this again is connecting with the Page of Cups, so you're not taking it too far. You're not being too rude or too forceful. You're not going overboard with it, because it's all connecting with that patient, joyful energy of the Page of Cups, that deeply introspective, emotionally adaptive energy. So don't worry about taking it too far. You will be able to feel intuitively where you need to push back, and you will be able to do it. The third year quarter, death, and then we have rebirth, judgment. So it's quite interesting that the second half of the year is basically a dying of your current self and a rebirth, the rebirth of the self, you emerging as someone new. So in the span of 6 months, according to these cards, it's possible to die and be born again. Of course, in the spiritual sense, not in the physical or biological sense. Death, another major arcana card, is the card of letting go, disintegration. Some aspects of who you are and what your life is are starting to decay, and normally it can be kind of a difficult process to accept this, but with the Page of Cups again, I think this is shaping up to be a less of a rocky ride, a more of a smooth sailing. And death is indicating that something has to terminate, something has to be over in order for new energies and new things to be able to come about. And the acceptance of this is key during this year. So there's not much that you need to actively do at this point to make your life better or easier. The only thing that needs to happen here is a recognition, a letting go. So this is not muscle work in the classical sense. You don't have to put more of an effort in. You need to do exactly the opposite. You need to let go. You need to relax your muscles, relax your being, and allow for whatever process is taking place here to happen. And I believe that with the Page of Cups, it's only going to help you develop more of a self-awareness and more of an emotional literacy. So it's a very useful process, ultimately. And towards the end, judgment is signaling the beginning of a new era. So towards the end of the year, it's going to be clear how your life is changing exactly. What is the fundamental, radical change that is unfolding here? You will see how a completely new way of existence is awaiting you. And this is a process involving you confronting your past. So that's an integral part of it. As you can see here in the card itself, judgment is very much a process of dancing with the dead, or calling the dead to the surface, of course in a spiritual sense. So the dead here, it's a metaphor for buried memories, for the subconscious, for suppressed psychological processes that need to be reawakened and that need to be processed on a conscious level. So that's a part of your awakening. This could include a confrontation of your own mistakes and making those errors, those mistakes, rectifying those mistakes. So it's a deep, deep process which is giving you a new chance at life. It's really powerful. So I wish you the best of luck with that, Drew. I hope that it's going to work out well. I can see that you have all the tools at your disposal to allow this process to take you to the best possible outcome. Thank you to everyone else as well who decided to watch and stay with us. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this type of content. Like this video, leave a comment, and see you next time. Bye-bye.